Well, hey everyone. It's the TCAP. I had to think really quick what we were doing. We are back for Matt's season, episode 4. And I guess we have some news. What news did I miss?
Okay, so from this Bachelor Nation account that I follow,
Oh,
apparently Sarah was dating a DJ for the entirety of her like pretty much being on the show, like before and after.
Hmm.
So like that's some tea. Apparently she was like dating this guy while she was on the show.
Who is this girl? Because she's dating famous CJ, she's dating G-Eazy, she made it onto The Bachelor. Like,
She got the connects.
where's she from? I know
I mean,
she's a
she
broadcast journalist, but
let's say that has to be good leverage for her getting all the connects.
I wonder, this is like my opinion, because that leaking and that coming out, the people who are feeling sorry for her kind of feel duped, like she was like kind of playing this role, like she wasn't there for the right reasons.
I mean, I still feel bad because everything going on with her family,
For sure.
but
yeah, that doesn't take away from obviously her like her home life, but
Right.
it makes you question too. Well, what were her intentions? Are what was she conflicted about? Was it because she had a man back home waiting for her while she got her 2 seconds of fame on The Bachelor? It just brings a lot of questions. But I still don't agree with the way the girls in the house approached her. So still wrong in both ends. All these girls on the season are quite messy, and we'll get into that shortly.
You said it.
So it basically opens up right where we left off the last episode, where Katie addresses the girls and says, Sarah went home this morning, and right off the jump, it opens up with Victoria name calling. She's like, "Oh, well, at least the trash is out," something along those lines. Like, not a nice comment. And Katie finally tells her off. Was like, she's not here anymore. Why are we continue name calling? Like, let's drop it, please. Like, can we be nice? Can we not be nasty? And then Victoria says, like, F you, I'm not going to shut up. Basically, like, don't tell me what to do, what to say. So Victoria and Katie kind of go back and forth. Katie's just telling everybody to stop being mean because she's not even there to defend herself anymore. Like, you guys got what you wanted, enough. So yeah, that was like a little bit of drama in the beginning, and then it immediately kind of jumps into the group date, which is weird. I feel like a lot was cut out because it's just the cocktail party, and they showed literally zero conversations besides I think the one he had with Chelsea.
I think. Sorry,
I
go
was,
on.
that was just funny because like he goes around at the end to hang out like the group date rows, and he is like, "Oh, I had a great conversation with Abigail. I had a great conversation with her, and I had a great conversation with Chelsea." And I'm like, "Wait, did I miss something? Like, I didn't see any of those conversations. Like, they just sped through that whole day, basically."
Yeah, I was confused too because I was like, okay, well, did they just have to go straight to cocktail hour because like all the time was taken up with Sarah kind of leaving? Like they didn't really like explain anything surrounding that. And yeah, like agreed, like the conversations were brief, but I mean, reassuring nonetheless for the ladies. I'm happy that Chelsea got the rose though. Like she
Yeah.
seems super cool.
It was just funny because it didn't show the conversations like he highlighted on the conversations that were good, but we didn't get to see them besides Chelsea's, which I thought was a great conversation. Feel free to chime in, guys. But she did talk about her hair and how hard it is for African American girls with their hair identity, basically. That was like a beautiful story that got to see highlighted on the show.
I love that. Yeah, it made me remember. It made me think of the clip or the story "Hair Love." I think I have it, like I've seen it on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, super moving, super empowering for just like that community. I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Then I think right after that went into the rose ceremony.
Yeah, do you want to talk about it?
Next.
I don't know. I don't really know what to talk about.
I mean,
Sorry, before we even talk about rose ceremony, I do want to mention really quick that I love. So I was like, I've been reading about just like this season and how it's kind of slow. And I know like in our group text we talk about like not really loving it, or not really loving the girls. But even I think the whole like Bachelor Nation is having a hard time with it just because we don't really know Matt, so we're still trying to get to know him. But one thing I do notice I do love about him is his body language when he's talking to the women. He's always like holding their hand, holding their leg. It's like he's really listening. And I'm just like, I'm here for it. Um, so yeah, during
I
the date was like what I or not group date during that rose ceremony is what I noticed about his like body language with all the women.
I second that, Alex. And it's not even the body language. I think to me, it really showed, I believe it was Piper. She was wearing like a jumpsuit, like a sparkly sequins jumpsuit. And I think she's so pretty and so cute.
she looked so good.
Her hair up was gorgeous.
I know. And
Her earrings.
yeah, she like sat down with him and he's like, so you told me about how you have like two sisters and a mom, and was kind of like recapping their past conversations, which just shows that as a bachelor, he's taking this like seriously and getting to know the girls. And they even caught him saying things to like, in separate conversations, but kind of it's this same line where it's no, let me know how I can make you feel comfortable and make you not feel stressed out in this environment. Like, how can I be reassuring to you that I want you here and blah, blah, blah. And he said it took a few people. And I appreciate that because he's like, a lot of times it's the girls thinking or the guys thinking, like, what can I do for the bachelor, bachelorette? But he's like, what can I do for you to make this a good experience?
Yeah, he's like super attentive in that sense. Like, I don't like literally, and I don't usually like seasons of The Bachelor, but the one thing that I truly enjoy like these past 4 episodes is him. I'm like, damn, these girls are really lucky. Like, obviously, I can see everyone is throwing a fit for like some reason because they all want his time, but it's just like this is just one dude, but he's like, I just tell that he's like really enjoying it too.
He's super like well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like a little jockey, he's a little nerdy, he's like quirky and funny, but he's also like intelligent and like you can have a serious conversation. I really like him. I will say one thing I feel I'm missing is more opening up. I feel like I'm not really getting like deep. But I also want to keep in mind too, this episode they brought in new girls. So it's like one, I'm very curious to wonder why new people. Maybe he wasn't finding like a deeper spark with the girls, and that's what triggered it. I feel like none of us know the answer to that.
No, Chris
I
said
I think I might. I think I might actually.
And so, like, there's that. Like, so some of the conversations are a little bit like, oh, what's up? Like, where you from? Blah, blah, blah. And then on top of that, I just feel like I just want more depth from him. I want to know more about him. Like, what are his, like, strengths and weaknesses and, like, highs and lows that he's gone through.
Well, segueing into what happened later in that rose ceremony, it's like what you're saying, like he seems like such a great guy, and that goes to show because when Chris takes him outside, he says we had a record amount of girls who applied for your season, so we're bringing in 5 more. And I think I saw an article or saw like a headline where it's like they couldn't possibly bring all the girls for night 1 because there've been way too many, so they kind of left the other few to bring in a few weeks later. And they were not welcomed well. I can say that. I think the girls that came were Michelle, beautiful, loved her dress. We'll get into her later. Brittany walked in, the first person to walk in, walked right in, said, let's make up for lost time, and just made out with him, and that did not go well for the other girls. There was Kim, who had a cool, like, tropical dress. The girl from the Puerto Rico universe, Miss Universe. And then someone else.
Ryan.
Mm-hmm. She seemed cool.
Yeah. So when these 5 women approached, no one knew that it was happening, not even Matt. And all the other girls were kind of butthurt because their minds were like, oh, we've been here for 3 weeks. We haven't had time with him. And now here are 5 more girls coming in, stealing our time. And yeah, and then already with their nastiness, they were just extra nasty. I don't know.
Honestly, watching it, you know, I think maybe not even just women, but in this kind of situation, like you get competitive and you can be a little immature. This was like an episode where I was just like, I wanted to turn my TV off. I was like, this is so, like, half of me was thinking this is just so produced almost, like this is what they want. Like they want to get a rise out of them. Like, why are they doing this? Like, I was just thinking of it more like analytically. And then the other half of me was just like, I can't imagine. I don't care how mean I've been in the past to anyone or whatever. Like, I cannot imagine going on national television and having the audacity to just talk to people and get like a rise, let myself get like riled up about it. Like some of the stuff they were saying, like, oh, like you're like JV, we're like the varsity team, like, ugh. Like, how old are you? Get over it. Like, this is a competition. It's not their fault. Like, you think they were like, oh, Chris, let me wait 3 weeks and then put me on the show. Like, I really want to do that. Like, it's not like it was their idea and they're just like all butthurt about it. And I don't know. It was the one point in a long time where I've been like, how do you think this is okay to be talking about people? And like, as a franchise, some of the stuff that was said, which we'll get into, is just so beyond. Like, I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way from a production standpoint. Like, do you really have to put all this?
Yeah, and that's why when you said like, oh, it's because he's not making connections. I think he's making plenty of connections. We're just not seeing the full conversations. Look at the group date that we saw this week. It was completely trimmed down because they wanted to make time for all this unnecessary drama. Like, granted, it's happening and they want to show us it, but all that is pulling away from what really matters about the show, which is the connections, the people, Matt's journey. And so I think me and Lexi even talked, like when Chris told him that, he kind of like didn't even look happy. I'd be so overwhelmed by him. I'd like, do I have a say in this? Can I say no? Like,
I mean, and I think a part of it too, because he knows how much weight that carries, and I feel like he kind of already knew like the hostility that would come from more people being in the house. Like, obviously, that's gonna rile people up and change like the whole dynamic. But I agree with like what everyone said. Like, production standpoint, I think these women were kind of being like pathetic. Like, it's one thing if you want to be frustrated and this is so unfair because you've been here for 3 weeks and yada yada yada, but to almost pinpoint it saying, well, why is it because he's bored? Like, why are these women coming in now? Is it because this is this? No, it's a production standpoint. They need to like switch things up because clearly things were getting slow. And now they have the 5 new women in. But even upon like them arriving, like what, like so unwelcoming and so gross. Like, I would never act that way. And I want to like pinpoint when Victoria was talking to, what was her name?
Catalina.
Yeah, Catalina. And she like took her crown and put it on.
The disrespect. Oh my gosh.
Like,
I wish a bitch would.
You just gave yourself that name. Like, actually try to earn that, and then you can take it. I would have hit her.
That's what I'm saying, Amelia. Like, do not touch me. Like, I am literally meeting you for the first time, and you're gonna come at me and touch my hair, my head, my crown. Like, ooh, I would not be able to keep my composure. And she handled that like flawlessly.
An actual queen.
That wasn't even like the start of the drama. Like, she started it. I know Amelia touched base on it. Like, her, talking about Sarah leaving. And it wasn't just her. Like, all the girls were just talking mad crap about Sarah. And then next thing you know, these girls come in, and I feel like this episode was just drama, 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 drama. And then that was like the breaking point for me. At that point, I was like, okay, I don't need to hear anymore from Victoria. She's done in my book.
But we completely skimmed over, I believe. I don't know if it was before the rose ceremony or that group date, but Victoria pulls Katie aside and is like, "You owe me an apology. Like, you told me like not to," and she's like, "I'm not gonna apologize to you. Like, when
Yeah,
you're
they were sitting on the couch, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
so when you're being a bitch, I'm gonna tell you you're being a bitch. Like, I'm sorry. Like, we don't need to be talking nasty. Like, oh, so you're okay with name calling? Like, I'm gonna call you out if you're name calling for someone who's not even here." And she's like, "Well, you just don't need to tell me what to do. I'm always gonna do whatever I want to do. And I just really think I deserve an apology." She's like, "Well, I'm not apologizing to you." And then she tried throwing her like, "Oh, that's big coming from the person who walked in here night one with the dildo." And she's like, "I have plenty of confidence in myself." Like, I enjoyed that
Mhm.
conversation. Like, Katie continues to keep sticking up for herself and being
And others.
and yeah, and for everyone else in the house. So that was another thing. And I think I said that last week too. Like, yeah, I like Victoria for like 2 minutes last episode, but at the very end when she started being nasty to Sarah, I was like, no, nope, that's literally who you are, and it's gross. So
You
For
remind
sure.
me of like an Angelina from Jersey Shore.
yeah, that's
Totally.
like, I don't know. I'm trying to point to Lexus. Lexus, talk about Good Morning America.
I'm here. Okay, so I mean,
Oh,
like
it's
obviously it's
over.
gonna look different, everyone.
People have different.
I'm actually, you guys like, okay, I'm essentially
Oh my God, it's this for me.
anyway, yeah, Amanda, that's where I am.
I'm
But
right.
on the screen recording for me, that's what the people are gonna see. But no, I agree. And like what's real like what two things. Something that I really noticed too is like people who I thought would be like super duper cool in the beginning, like super pretty, seem like super laid back, blah blah blah. Complete 180. These girls are complete flip flops. And I feel like I'm gonna keep flip flopping between who I like and who I don't like that entire season because that's just how it's been so far. And with the Good Morning America thing this morning, I saw just like a little snippet. And she's like, "Oh yeah, like me taking the tiara was like not my best moment, but I was just like, it was just all in good fun. Like I wasn't being serious, blah blah blah." I'm like, this
I mean,
girl literally doesn't know you. She's not in on your joke. What are you talking about?
that's
Like
like
that was all fun and games for you. For you. Like no one else felt the exact same way.
Um. So yeah. So I think
that was it from Good Morning America. That's the highlight you have.
I mean, that was just it. But her like
yeah.
just trying to justify it by saying it was like all in good fun and she was like
Yeah.
just trying to be funny. Like that's not funny.
Question, you didn't talk about her mugshot?
Oh, they
yeah.
did, but I didn't
You didn't watch the whole thing.
no.
No.
It was literally just like a highlight from like Instagram. Like I
We
just
can
looked
take
in
a
like a
pause
story.
right now. We can take a pause right now and like watch a clip from it, and then like
I
come
mean,
back and talk about it. Or
I
is
don't
it-
want to continue talking about
They
her to be
don't
honest.
really care too much. I feel this is what she wants. She wants to talk.
Mhm.
She wants to be talked about. I don't care enough to talk about her. I thought she was gonna redeem herself, and she did not. I'm upset. I'm disappointed in her.
And I feel like I don't know. I feel like honestly, probably like in reality, Victoria is probably like a smart person. Like this whole persona that she created on the show just seems very calculated to me. Like,
Mhm.
because clearly this is what she wants, you know?
And this is the thing, you know, obviously all of them are talking crap and being all uptight about this. We also have to remember too, like, if I was in a room full of women and we were all just like, of course, at least someone is gonna say something like really mean, but everyone is probably saying the same thing and they're just highlighting like the main characters, you know?
So going into what happened. So rose ceremony. What's her face? Kayla.
Kayla goes home. I'm so. I
Mhm.
honestly, I was shocked because
Same.
Kayla was the one. Really great first night. She had the pickup truck intro.
Oh yeah.
And her first night, I thought was like she was like one of my favorites, and now she's gone. And that's why I kind of feel like this season, like I mean, we really have no idea.
I didn't really show her after that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like she had a really
Mhm.
strong first night, and then after that, she kind of like fizzled out. She never really got time. She was on that group date when Sarah interrupted, I believe, and didn't get time with Matt on that date. And then
Mhm.
Was she on this past one too? I don't know.
It was like literally post that date. So her probably not having time was just kind of like a non-factor. I mean, that's probably what ended up getting her sent home.
Was that group date that Sarah
yeah, because I know that she was one of the girls who like didn't have time, like actually didn't really have a lot of time with Matt. And what's funny too is like for a lot of like obviously people have like the predictions of like the top 5, top 4, like after the first episode, and she was like on a lot of people's like top 5, top 4, even mine. So that was surprising.
I don't even remember who I picked anymore. I hate everyone.
Yeah. So in the group date, it's another kind of fun triathlon thing where very fall themed. They have to kayak with orcs, dress up as squirrels for whatever, and win some time with Matt. I don't know. But what's interesting about the date was Brittany was on it, and when she initially walked into the room during the rose ceremony, Anna, who's from Chicago as well, said, "Oh, I know of her. I don't really know her, but everything I've heard about her is not good. Like I've heard she's just like a horrible person." And then she's talking at the end of this group date. They do the cocktail hour kind of, and she's talking to Victoria, and she's like, "Yeah, I've just been hearing things that she's an escort." So Anna says this tea to Victoria, and I don't think that's not the only person she must have talked to that night, because at the end of that date, when all the girls are still around, Anna decides that's the perfect time to call out Brittany. The way that Anna handled that was so wrong, because she's sitting there saying, "Hey, so before we got on the show, I had people messaging me that I don't know saying that you're an escort in front of all the other girls." And she's like, "And I already told these girls that too. And yeah, I just wanted to like, let you know, like no one says this kind of stuff about me." And Brittany's just sitting there like, "You told all these people I'm an escort? Like, I'm not an escort."
She apologized. I didn't go about it the right way.
Yeah.
And then you want to have a conversation in front of everyone?
Pull her aside and say, "Hey, this is what I'm hearing about you. I'm sorry I opened up and told the other girls just like out of, plain shock and curiosity, but I'm sorry. And if it's not true, I'll backtrack and continue not to say this." But no, in front of the whole room, purposely trying to call her out. And how do you expect Brittany to react to that? Like, these aren't just like claims saying, "Oh, I heard that you used to pick your nose when you were little." No, this is like literally something that could ruin someone's reputation. Like her family's watching.
Exactly.
Maybe managers, bosses are watching this show, and you come out and say something so derogatory and also slightly like illegal.
And it was all based on like, oh, she hangs out with older men. And, like,
right.
But she's not bottle service girl.
And I'm just sick of
and
I'm just sick of the slut shaming. Like, legal, not legal, whatever. The fact that this is even being highlighted, I feel like it's just such a thing like that they continue to do with women on this show. It's like, oh, because she hangs out with so and so, she's a horrible girl. And like her making out with Matt, like I just feel like the picture that they painted of her initially from the moment she walked in to now, it's like, I don't know if I like this girl. And I mean, I don't feel that way. I just think
they're trying to paint that picture of her that's not the reality, and that's honestly what it comes down to. Either way, it claims of someone even being called an escort when it literally just dwindles down to, oh, she's a part of the nightlife in Chicago where she probably from time to time goes to bottle serve, like gets in a VIP section with older men and takes advantage of their bottle service. Like, oh my God, as a freaking 22-year-old, that sounds awesome. Like any 24-year-old would want that. So I feel like my annoyance with that whole,
we never paid for drinks, and that's
exactly. And you know what? And what annoyed me about it is because the way that they approached that subject of the show, I assumed it's like, oh, Anna got confirmation from this person that she is doing this stuff. There was no confirmation. It was already just like, oh, watch out for this girl. We haven't, like, people just don't like her. Yes, Al.
Really quick, side note about Anna. So a friend of mine knows someone who knows Anna because I guess they went to DePaul together. And I mean, people do
Ew,
like
alum.
say she's very annoying. I think we can kind of see that on the show where she's kind of just like putting herself in places where she does not belong. Um,
Exactly.
and it's like she said something about how Brittany's intentions are affecting her time there. Like Brittany's intentions are affecting Anna's time. And I'm like, I don't understand that just women in general on the show right now. Why are they so focused on other people's relationships instead of trying to build their own with Matt? I think that's where it
I
all
agree.
They're
Yeah.
threatened, and that's what Katie keeps telling Victoria too. Like you're insecure about something, and it's showing because the way you're acting, like, and that's like my biggest complaint.
And it's now Anna. And of course, both of those girls are conversing now because
You sit here and you
they
complain.
want to sit here and act like that.
Yeah, like it's 3 weeks in, you had no time with Matt, you had no time with Matt. Well, maybe focus that energy on building a connection with Matt. Instead of sitting there running your mouth, talking about rumors of somebody else, you could take that time to get up off your butt, go to his room, and find time for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's so much other things you can be doing than stirring the pot and spreading things that are just downright just hurtful. And not
Yeah.
saying rumors like, oh yeah, we should, you know, embrace this kind of culture, you know, sex work, whatever. That's completely besides the point. Is the fact that someone's feelings were hurt by what's being said, and like that's not okay, you know.
And my thing is the stigma around it is what makes it even worse. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
one thing is like Victoria in her mugshot. It's like, okay, she did a crime. She obviously got in trouble, and that was like her penance. But like this girl, like you don't even know what happened.
Mhm.
It's just based on whatever. It's not like she was arrested for something like this or caught up in like a love triangle that we know of. And even if she was, whose business is it for you to be telling all of the world that this happened and ABC to even have the audacity to air something that could be
Yeah.
so detrimental to someone?
Shame on them. And literally putting it in promos and stuff. Like, actually, shame on them for that.
So the next day, Matt has a one-on-one with Michelle, who is a teacher. I don't know about you guys, but I really liked her. Even her coming in, she was very like held back, but I loved like the energy she gave off.
Mhm.
And they seem to really connect. I can really tell that he is vibing her too. Thoughts on their date? Does anybody want to talk about what they did? Go
I
ahead.
loved it.
Amanda, go first.
So this is the first time I've actually, besides my obsession with Brie, this is like the first time I'm like, okay, they're cute, she's cool, and I feel like that we're actually seeing more conversational things happening and not just like, oh, let me highlight the drama. So I was watching it with my boyfriend, and I said, if she's not in the top, like the final two, I'd be super duper shocked because I think even him, I feel like at the end of that date, you know, when they're doing their what are they called? Their confessionals.
Mhm.
He was all like, like he got all like cutesy about her.
Looking at this first date, like keep in mind, Michelle was one of the new girls. Like he barely knew her. Doesn't even know her. Doesn't know her at all. The conversation and their excitement about being with each other that whole entire day, there was never an awkward pause during that, at least what we saw. And
No dull moments. Yeah.
looking back at that first date with Bree, like there were awkward pauses, and I was like, oh, like Matt's kind of awkward, and this one, like it just really flowed, and they're kind of like, it was magical.
I feel like it was Michelle that like really carried it, if that makes sense. I just feel like she like constantly like was talking and like didn't let like any kind of conversation die.
It's her teacher
Um,
energy.
it's a teacher energy for sure, for sure. And I think there was another thing I wanted to pinpoint to. Oh yeah, super cute. Like when they were answering all the questions like from the balloons. It was, I don't know if it was like the question that was like on like the little sheet or what, but she was like, "Ooh, on the count of three, like let's say how many kids like we want to have." And they both said three. When I saw that moment, I was like, I like that. One thing I also wanted to like kind of point on too, like literally this girl I just got into the house and you could just like see how furious like all the other girls were about her getting that one-on-one date. And like literally the amount of times I heard in this episode, like, I've been here for 3 weeks and I'm not getting any time. I wonder
We
why.
had 3 weeks,
You had
actually.
3 weeks.
Well,
Right?
to be fair, I think the first week there are some girls, and that's like true for every like for every season. I feel since they've increased how many people join, there are some people the first like week or two that don't get any dates, and your time is rose ceremony. And I think with each rose ceremony, it's kind of been cut short because of the arrival of new women or drama or so on and so forth. So I get what they're saying, why they don't have time, but also you have 3 weeks on this person. And yeah, that's been like Michelle getting that group date also opened up a can of worms for all the other girls to complain about. Like, oh, she said she deserves this. No, sweetie, you do not. Like from MJ and a bunch of
Ew.
like
I
dude,
think was it MJ? Someone else made another comment.
with you, he would get you a one-on-one date.
Exactly.
I want to talk about how you said like the girls are still being nasty. Something that I keep telling myself is that like yes, your emotions are valid. You're allowed to be upset. You're allowed because like I mean that's just
I agree.
reactions, but you're not allowed to be nasty about it to people that you don't even know. You're not
Mhm.
allowed to take it out on people that you don't know or take it on other people around you. Like yes, your emotions are valid, but your actions you need to think before you do.
Mhm.
Well, they go into their second half of their date, and I feel like she opened up a little bit about like, you know, what's been going on in the world. I just really love their conversation. Like, I feel it has had the most depth out of all the other ones that we've had. I feel like Abigail, of course, too, opening up about her, you know, cochlear implant and all that stuff, but this was like the second one that kind of like pulled on my heartstrings, and he obviously gave her the rose. I don't think there's really much else to add besides that, but
Yeah, it reminded me of what everything we love about Tayshia's season, how they brought it back to real life events going on in the world. That yes, they're living in this bachelor bubble, but there are still things happening outside of it that need to be talked about, and it's bigger than the petty drama that's going on in the house.
Exactly.
I really loved about Michelle and his conversation.
Agreed. Going into like this next. Okay, someone refresh me on what happened for the group date. Like the freaking boxing match. Oh my god. Okay, can I just mention one thing too? Cause poor Serena got decked in her freaking face.
I'm literally Serena. Like I would
Like, I'm like also like I'm not surprised. Of course, all these girls are just gonna be like I know I'd probably like try to knock a girl out, not like intentionally, but just out of like frustration.
frustration.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Fun
fact.
fact. I did boxing in high school for like 2 weeks and then I quit.
Nice, Al.
Nice fact.
Make
Love
sure you deck someone for me next time around. Something I noticed, Serena was obviously on that group date, but they like mentioned, I remember like from the rose ceremony at the start of the episode, right? Because obviously she was safe from this past week from the date that she had with Matt, like the one-on-one. I did not see her at all. I didn't see her in the rose ceremony. I didn't see her like on like the previous like dates or anything like that, literally up until this group date.
That was the only date she was on. It was only 1 week ago.
I know, but even like on the couch and stuff when they were like announcing like the date cards and stuff, I'm like, I didn't see her at all.
Well, they showed her in the things when they're talking about that hot air balloon.
That was like the first time you saw it throughout the episode. So I was just like, they're bringing up her.
I understand, Lex. I think too, though, because I feel this like I kind of felt that with Abigail because there's so many women that we just can't keep track of who is still there and is getting that camera time.
Yeah. I think after next week we'll start seeing a little bit more from like them.
Get them out of here.
I hope they do a clean sweep because God, they need it.
What?
I hope they do like a clean sweep, like 5 girls go home next week.
Oh, I hope so too.
House.
Literally, that's what I'm saying. So, the group day. I mean, not to touch on. Did you guys have any like good takeaways as far as the date was concerned? Or did you want to hop into the drama?
I was just like, for me, it's just like, what did you expect to happen? I'm happy that he was like, yeah, it's like getting too physical. Like, let's call this off, and they just like have the cocktail hour. Like, smart move, Matt. Not having these girls like trying to like knock each other out. But it's just like, I don't know. I felt like it was just more so funny. Oh, wait. Alex, you're probably going to say what I was just about to say.
I follow Blake on Instagram, and he like does like a whole recap, and he was talking about how they pretty much brought back what they did in Tayshia's season with the guys boxing it out. Obviously, the girls
Have some tension.
have some tension where the guys had tension, but like we got to see it more be playful. And when there was tension, the guys just like removed themselves from it. I think it was Ed was like, I'm not doing it. But the girls were like, yeah, let's get going.
So after they boxed and they're all doing the cocktail hour and getting their one alone time with Matt, the girls are continuously talking about the new arrivals. They're like, oh, I'm so glad that they were on this date. Like, who are they to think that they deserve this time? I think they brought Michelle. MJ made that comment about like, oh, we're varsity. They're like, I'm glad it was
OG, they're on the date.
Yeah. Like just being literally like so cliquey and gross. And I think they brought up, did they bring up Brittany again in that group date? So that they brought up Brittany again, and Katie's just sitting there like listening. And I think she told them to stop. Did she say anything to all the girls? She did. She did. I just don't know what she said. Oh, she said, you know what? We all like, yes, we can all be upset that they're here, but at the end of the day, like he's gonna see these like relationships through, and we need to stop being nasty and start being more welcoming to them.
Like they want the same thing we want. Like we're all here trying to do the same thing.
And so she says that, and then everyone's like, well, no, blah blah blah. Like continue to talk however they want to talk. And I think she just like had enough of it. Like no one's hearing her out. They're obviously not gonna listen to her. So I think she did the right thing. She went to Matt and said, there's a lot of drama going on in the house. People are being bullies to the new arrivals and just spreading rumors that could literally ruin people's lives. Like people's lives can be ruined after this because of the rumors that are being said. And I think at the next cocktail hour, like tomorrow, you need to make a statement and address it and say like you're not gonna like stand for this because it's best coming from you. And he's like, well, yeah. And I loved what he said. He said, if they think they can bully their way into my heart, they got it wrong. And it's so true because that's what all these girls are doing. I mean, not all of them, but I can literally name 5. Like, I think the main culprits right now that they're highlighting are definitely Anna, Victoria, MJ, a little bit of Serena C, but not really. Like, Serena C seems like she's just following along with the conversations. Like, like, oh yeah, this is
It's like,
It still makes you bad. That makes it that's right. Like you shouldn't be going along with the crowd. Like when something's wrong like that, don't cave into it or don't give.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel like one thing that was just annoying me throughout the episode too. I just want to touch on this like really quickly. You see a lot of these women just taking one thing that someone is saying and running with it, whether it's everyone saying yes, men, or like whatever. Like that's what's really annoying. Like where's the authenticity? Where's like literally the only one who had something to like speak up and say to all these women was Katie. Like and it's still constantly Katie. Like no one is like reassuring themselves on how they're acting or like even calling other people out. It's just like what the hell is going on? I'm just like because for me it's like if I was in that environment, I'm hearing everyone say these things about these women that just got into the house and people that they barely even know. Like, who are you to even say any of these things? It's just like so gross to me.
I was saying that last week. Like as much as I was shocked at everyone being mean to Sarah and really like, jumping on her, I was just as much as surprised that people weren't also sticking up for her. And it's like what Alex said, like either you can like follow the crowd and like even if you're not the one starting it, if you either don't say anything or if you chime in after everyone else is talking and kind of following the bandwagon, you're just as at fault because people's feelings are getting hurt, and if you're not helping, you're just part of the issue.
Sidebar to this, I really like her, Katie, for Bachelorette. I'm gonna throw it into the universe. I'd like to see her there. To wrap up this group date, it really just ends with her confronting Matt and just saying, listen, this is what's going on. Doesn't even repeat the rumor, which I love.
Mm.
And it essentially ends on that note, like, okay, I'm going to address this, and this is what we're going to do moving forward. Leaving you hanging with a cliffhanger, no elimination, no nothing.
Mm.
And yeah, we just have to wait until next week, I guess.
I'm honestly not even looking forward to it because I think what comes with the drama on the show is it's always like two-sided. It's one person's story over the other. Everyone's gonna claim that they're not being seen the right way or something like that. But it's like it's just I feel like I'm just gonna get more frustrated next week. So
Same.
I'll be fine.
And I just hope like for future episodes we can just like because there are some like amazing girls we've seen like Abigail, Bree, Maggie, like all these like great women who have great stories to tell, and unfortunately they're just constantly shining light on drama that doesn't matter and shouldn't matter.
I think that's all we had to say. I mean, a lot of the time we spent talking about again, another episode full of drama. I'm sure next week will bring the same thing, but all we can tell everyone who tunes in and watches is again, be nice. We don't know everyone's story. And even if we think we do, don't go and blab about it because it's nobody's business.
More love, less drama. That's what I want to see. I want to see more deepness, more opening up. I'm so over, oh, this girl's here. Shut up. Who cares? Bye.
Agreed. And now that everyone's there, what are y'all gonna do about it?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're also, it's not done yet. We have another.
We'll all be like BFFs.
We have another girl coming. We have another coming.
That's right.
The season's gonna take forever, and I'm like not ready for it.
I mean, half feel bad for the girls, half like, God,
Mm-hmm.
cut out for this.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, so that's a wrap of this episode. If you liked what you watched, please comment, subscribe, and like for more tea. We're here every week. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.